Call the meeting to order. Can I get a motion on the minutes, please?
I move to accept the minutes as written.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? I guess it's a roll call vote. Jamie,
Aye.
Pete,
Yep.
and myself is yes. Okay, Matt, you're
Okay.
on.
So my business administrator comments are the Biggie boiler will be online at the end of this week or the beginning of next week. It's actually going to be, oh, they told me it was, I think it's going to be Wednesday. And so it's going to be a big, we're going to have the insurance company there. We're going to have the installer there. And I think the town may be there. And we're going to turn on the boilers at Bakey. And the big news with the Bakey boilers is we were supposed to get the burners in January. They were delivered to our installer last Friday. So they're actually on the boilers today. Or as of late Friday, they were installing them. Okay.
Great.
The next item here I have is we have playground equipment at Memorial School that's more age appropriate for students at Bakey. Okay, and what we are right now discussing moving some of that playground equipment to Bakey. Okay, so there will be more to come on that.
How about the chips at the slide? The wood chips?
Yes, okay, the wood chips are almost complete. We just have one structure to do.
Okay. Do you have a timeline on that one?
They were supposed to be done back in August.
Oh. Any information on what the holdup is?
Nothing I can share at this meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right, we already spoke about the Bakey boilers. They're gonna be fired up, not this Friday, but next Tuesday. It's gonna be Tuesday or Wednesday. It's more like gonna be Wednesday. This is because we received the burners that we're expected to arrive in January. We don't have to install the old burners, which are actually sitting on the floor next to the new boilers. We did receive another shipment of the chimney lining material and it has been installed. When I went and viewed them yesterday, they were putting the stainless steel exhaust on the back of the boilers going into the chimney. There are two sets of pumps. I just want to clarify. There's two main circulator pumps that draw water in from the system and feed the boiler. Okay. Then there's a whole bunch of pumps that draw water from the boiler and push it out to the individual zones. So the ones that draw the water in from the system and go into the boiler are the original two pumps. And those are actually in great condition. And we're hoping to get many more years of service out of them. However, the circulator pumps that went out to the individual zones have all been replaced and they're going to be up and running when we fire the boiler up. Okay.
Yep.
The next item is the water pump that serviced the school lunch water. This is to the part of the building that serviced just drinking water. That when at the last meeting, I told you that failed. We had it replaced with a stainless steel pump. We are talking right now about taking the old pump and having it rebuilt for a backup.
So the other one's been, the stainless steel is in?
Yes, yes, and what I understand, the industry is going to the stainless steel ones. We expect to get a longer useful life out of it.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one is we're still assessing the electrical capacity of the Bakey building in order to support window air conditioning units.
When did that come on the topic? I don't remember ever that being discussed.
Okay, so what's happening here is we have a whole bunch of parents that want to donate window air conditioning units to Bakey. And my gut is telling me that if I turn them all on, the building may not have enough power to service all the units. So I need to hire an electrical engineer to assess the capacity of the building. in order to receive these AC units
Or not,
or
but
not.
we just didn't want to tell them no without having real data.
Just going back for a second, Matt, on those,
Oh,
old-
yes.
on those old burners that we took out, we put the new burners on, those going into storage for backup use?
Yes, actually, I had them take the old boilers apart and salvage as many parts as possible, because we have two identical boilers to the ones that were at Bakey in Memorial. Okay, so now I have 4 burners, 2 that are in the Memorial furnace and 2 that are not. And now that we know, we can actually install those burners in our modern ones too, so hopefully they're gonna be okay. They're kept in a climate controlled, well, they're kept in the boiler room at Memorial, or they will be, so hopefully they'll stay in working condition. If not, in 10 years, we may recycle them.
Matt, have you talked with the installers and asked them if those burners need to have anything done to them, like the equivalent of mothballing to preserve them for a time when they may, you know, if they are needed?
I'll ask them.
Yeah.
What they've done to them right now is they've taken the 2 that came out of Bakey and they took them apart and they merged them into one good working unit.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if it's maybe just some oiling or spraying them with something, or maybe nothing at all, but it'd be good to know.
Yeah, I'll make sure that gets done.
Okay.
Yeah, again, my next item is replacing the wood chips under each structure. And also we have 2 chains that are holding down a piece of equipment. Those 2 chains are coming in, and shortly after, we're gonna call our insurance company and have them finish their playground inspection. At the high school, middle school, we've not moved forward any with the roof issues, the roof and siding issues. We identified the source of the problem. Actually, I showed Jamie a section of the roof, and that was the wrong roof. It's actually on the front of the building where the siding is decaying. Okay.
Where the leak is.
There's 2 leaks. There's one over by the silo, and then there's another leak over the library. I took you over the one with the library.
Yeah.
Okay. We should have gone over to the one by the silo.
Yeah, that was worth all that effort we went through.
Yeah.
Could climb out the window.
It was kind of fun.
The next item is to evaluate the deteriorating concrete retaining wall over by the loading dock. And what I'd like to do with the committee, like how we hired the architect, I'd like to hire a structural engineer to evaluate that and have a structural engineer that I can call for, say, a 2-year period and ask them any questions about the building. Okay, so in the next few meetings, I'd like to try to entertain hiring a structural engineer, have them come out and look at that concrete, and then we can get an independent assessment as to what to do. General facilities, right now for Chase Field, they're supposed to come and repair the baseball diamond. They have not yet. They're experiencing difficulties at some of their other jobs.
Will they get it in before fall so it can be seeded?
They said they would.
Can we find out, like, they said they would recently?
Yes.
Okay,
This
I'm
week.
a little nervous about this, so I just
Yeah.
want to get it done.
The item about the flashing on the seminary roof, we have not moved forward with that one yet. Let's see, equipment. We have ordered the truck that the school board had authorized us to purchase. We are hopeful to receive it before January. However, there's a chip shortage in the automotive industry, so we're hopeful. We are in discussions right now of what we really need for replacing a Toro tractor. We have a very large snow blower. It looks like one of these tractors that are used to mow lawns, but they have a snow blower attachment to it and they only use it for snow blowing. What I'd like to do, and this piece of equipment is older than the high school, it needs to really be replaced. I'd like to get it, replace it with a multi-purpose vehicle, something that we can use to mow and also do snow removal, okay? And finally, I'd like to talk about the CIP plan, which is the next agenda item.
Good, thank you.
Okay. It's not the next agenda item. Do you want me to jump into the trust balances?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so these are the same balances that I gave to the finance committee at their last meeting. The special education expendable trust as of August 31st is $241,201.96. The capital improvement capital reserve fund is $223,062.18. I still have not yet received the unanticipated educational expense capital reserve fund from the town's trustees. And the revenues for the facility use revolving fund literally got entered over the last couple of days. So I'm gonna have an update for a complete update for this one for the next finance meeting, which is in a couple of weeks.
So those dates there for August 31 for those items are not truly August 31, is that correct?
Well, yeah, for the facility use and for the unanticipated educational expenses, there's no data in there for August
Yeah.
because they're not available for us. Okay, they will be available for the finance committee meeting, but they're going to be the September balances.
So what's going on with the trust fund people that they're 2 months behind?
What it is they sent the wrong form. So basically what they get is it's a page per capital reserve fund from the state investment pool, and they sent us the wrong pages. It's just an administrative error.
You should be the state of the trustees.
The trustees.
So what'll it take to get the correct stuff, Matt?
I've reached out to them. I haven't had a response back.
So
They're
you need me to
volunteers.
call them?
Yeah, but also they're volunteers too. Just
Okay,
like that.
but it's been a while now, right?
Yes. I'll get it from them.
Okay,
I try not to push the volunteers.
yeah.
Okay. Mind if we jump into the CIP report?
Yes, let's. Thank
Okay.
you.
So, let's see. The first thing here is I just want to make sure that the CIP report just identifies our capital needs and potential sources of funding. And it's essential for strategic planning and initial budget planning. It's for planning purposes only, and any fiscal impact will only arise if the superintendent raises it in this budget and it's approved by both the school board and the budget committee.
Or if it becomes an emergency and we decide by the school board to fund it out of the capital reserve, right?
Yeah,
Like the boiler last year, they keep bumped up. I'm only saying that for transparency in the minutes, not because I'm worried about
okay.
any particular item.
Now, the school board policy that we're developing this under is policy DBC. And basically the superintendent with a consultation of the business administrator will develop a budget that includes provisions for a capital improvement program for future growth of the district as needed. Okay. So again, this is a capital improvement program is a planning document designed to anticipate the district's changing needs by establishing a priority system over its capital needs. When developing this document, the district followed consideration of items of significant importance to the district that have a direct impact on delivering education services to the children of the towns of Kingston and Newton. Items do not include on this list were considered repairs or consumables that would have a useful life of a year or less. We've also considered the tax impact to the taxpayers of the towns of Kingston and Newton. We also considered the values of the information being conveyed to the school board, its committees, the budget committee, and interested party. We provided the best educated estimate for each project. And I just want to make sure that you understand this is an educated guess for a lot of the numbers here. We provided The sources to be considered, they are the normal budget process. Bond, issuing a general obligation bond. Issuing lease debt like we did for the pickup truck. Drawing money from the capital reserve fund or an expendable trust fund. And then finally, the facility use revolving fund. Okay. And for those people that are out watching this, the facility use revolving fund is when we rent out district-owned properties. We're able to use that money for specific purposes like facility maintenance and also new technology purchases. And I've broken this thing out by location. The first location is the high school, middle school. The first item is crack fill, seal coat, repaint, and pavement markings. We are estimating $40,000. Really, the useful life of the seal coating is about 5 years. So I put $40,000 5 years out because we just recently seal coated the parking lot. The next one is the athletic field access. This is to pave a portion of the athletic. It's like a driveway that goes off of the parking lot out to a building out in the middle of the fields. Right now, it's a dirt path. And as parents walk from one field to another, go across our running track, they actually drag debris onto the running track. So this is really to protect the running track. I put that out 3 years from now. HVAC upgrades, we really need to consider it. I don't have a dollar amount here or an estimated time to accomplish this. I anticipate a useful life of about 40 years. We're halfway through it. We really need to keep this on our radar. And then also the reason why to keep it on our radar is for opportunities to go and replace either the system or portions of the system when it becomes beneficial to the district for efficiencies. The next one is auditorium upgrades. This one we want to do through the normal budget process or the facility use revolving fund, more likely the facility use revolving fund. This is to replace existing equipment that has begun to fail. Like this year, we've replaced a large amp and a sound mixer. It's not a mixer, it controls the different inputs of the sound. But that's going to be something that's going to come up relatively soon. The next item is the exterior siding. Right now, I'm estimating this to complete this over a large number of years and probably budgeting about $25,000 and just doing $25,000 worth of repair work each year until the entire building has been resided. And now the siding is just the top portion of the building. It's got this, it's like a manufactured wood siding. Let's see, the next one is the running track. We need to periodically resurface the running track to make sure that it's not replaced too soon. I think it's $76,000 to just do this maintenance and delay the complete rebuild of the track, which could cost up to $300,000. The next item are greenhouse windows. Now, these are the windows that are over by the science wing of the building, and I'm actually pointing in that direction. There, if you were to look at that part of the building, you would see there's a bump out from the library, and then above that is going to be like a greenhouse where it's attached to a science class. Those windows are starting to leak, and they're going to need to be replaced. Again,
Matt, what is the leaking, the seals, or something's wrong with the windows?
it's the seals.
So why does the glass have to be replaced?
Because we may not be able to replace the seals. We may have to replace the whole thing.
So we don't know at this point.
No, we don't know. That's our initial assessment. What we need to bring in a glass company like Fremont Glass and have them really assess it.
Okay.
I think Jamie had a question.
That was my question.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't see anybody else, so just yell out if you're, if you've got a question, please.
We're hiding from you.
What's that?
We're hiding from you.
Okay,
All right, the next one is the loading dock and loading dock stairs. If you go back out there, you're gonna see deterioration in the loading dock area. We spoke about this earlier this meeting, and we anticipate hiring an engineering company to assess the lifespan of the existing facility. Okay. The library roof has a fiberglass window, and it is starting to crack under the snow load, and we want to look at replacing it with something that's a little more appropriate for snow loads.
And that's, to be clear, it's not the structure isn't cracking, it's the rubber material. I just don't want people to think that the roof is
It's
gonna
the
collapse
opaque
or something. I mean, we had that happen at the middle school a number of years ago, and I don't wanna,
No,
it's just the membrane, the plastic, the rubber, right?
no, it's the fiberglass opaque material.
Thank you, okay.
Okay. The next one is the gang bathroom sinks. We've been experiencing some vandalism in relation to the sinks. And we need to go and replace those sinks with something that is more vandalism resistant.
You say gang, what do you mean?
So in the, it's gonna be the large bathrooms that can support multiple individuals at the same time. We just call
Okay.
it.
The gang means like multiple people wash their
Yeah.
hands and the
Okay.
drain is the same.
Okay. The chimney cap. So right now, there is no cap over the furnace flue on the high school. So if it rains, water's coming down, going down the side of it, and it's collecting with acid on the bottom of the chimney, and that is leaking out the bottom and actually the concrete underneath it. So we want to, again, hire a structural engineer. It has to be designed. It can't just be we call in a company and get it done. We actually have to do a structural engineer design for a chimney cap. The next one is elevator card access. This will prevent vandalism in the elevator.
Which I sent an email to the board about today. We had some more problems. That one's a hot topic right now, but we'll discuss it later.
The next one is granite seats in front of the entrances, and this will just improve security of the entrances. We're just evaluating just throwing large rocks in front of the entrances. We just think that seats are more aesthetic. Doesn't necessarily need to be granite. We just describe it that way.
yeah, could you put granite or concrete?
Yes, and actually, we had talked to, before COVID, we had talked to a local concrete expert about building a concrete form, and hopefully to have a concrete company fill those forms with waste concrete from the end of a shift, and then we could have these concrete blocks to make planters out of. So we have a lot of different options to investigate. I just put it down as granite seats.
I'm just wondering if you could insert concrete so that we don't forget.
You could also do, if this is for security, you can also do concrete pillars.
Yeah,
I think the key to this.
Thank you.
The key for this, and Jim, I have no problem with adding concrete. I just want to say that kind of like taking the tree out of Bakey last year, I don't want to, I mean, the high school is aesthetically very attractive, and I want to make sure that whatever we do for the safety component with regard to blocking the doors, that it's aesthetically pleasing, whatever it is, right? If it's pillars, is there a way to do those in an artistic manner, Jamie? You know, and if it's concrete, that's fine. But can it be done artistically, or can it be stained or painted, or in some way that I would assume they make a stain for concrete, similar to like siding stain that you don't have to
I would think.
redo regularly. But let's just be mindful that we want to kind of have a committee and a conversation with the community and be really transparent about whatever that's going to look like. I'm thinking back to when they built the quote safety vestibule and all the hubbub about that my first year here, right, Pete? You know, Like, for me, the process just needs to be transparent and very community oriented.
Okay. The next item is to move the shot put, which is a track and field event, and basically the area in which the ball rolls out actually goes out to a soccer field that we use. And sometimes we can't have two events going on at the same time. So we want to move the shot put in the field to another location so we can use the soccer field and the shot put at the same time.
Matt, I assume that's not a heavy lift, right?
It is not a heavy lift.
So,
And really, I'm thinking like the $3,000. Okay, I didn't get the joke. I'm sorry.
I was waiting to see if Pete was awake.
Pete's laughing over here, Jim.
He's trained me, he should know better.
Okay, the next one is,
So, Pete,
the next one is the roof. I put it in here. I know of no issues other than the two leaks, the one over the library and the one on the silo and the atrium roof where they abut. I know of no other issues with the roof, okay? But I want to get it on the plan. There is no dollar amount, there is no year placeholder for it. It's just, we need to keep considering it,
we
okay?
need to be aware of it, is that what you're saying?
That's right.
And when you say the roof, do you mean the rubber membrane on the roof? Or
Yes,
that's
exactly.
specific? Okay.
Because there's a huge amount of acreage up there, and actually, if the roof is gonna be replaced, we might as well do it at the same time we put something else up on the roof. And I threw down an idea of adding solar onto the roof. And they actually have purchasing plans where you can add solar and a roof with one fixed cost. Okay, the next one are boilers.
Fixed costs that they're paying us.
No, we pay them a lease payment.
Hey, that's your special project, he just gave it to you.
Yeah,
We want you, and I'm not kidding, we want you to help us with it.
three point 5 trillion.
Exactly.
Okay,
And I'm not kidding at all. Like,
They're
we
mine.
want you to help, okay, yeah, we want you to help us with it, right? Because we're getting close on the 3.5 trillion issue.
okay. The next item are the boilers. I said the boilers should last between 30 and 40 years. They should really last 40 years. The big boilers lasted over 40 years. Okay. Currently they're 17 years old. And again, it's something outside of the scope of the plan. However, we need to put it on the plan in case something catastrophic happens.
And we have had problems with the boilers at the high school. It's not been smooth running.
No,
Honestly, it's been a little bit disappointing considering the anticipated life and the issues that we've had prematurely.
yeah, we replaced sections of the boilers, and basically they're big giant cast iron sections, and you just actually have to cut the boiler in half, put in a new section in, and put it back to sandwich it back together again. The next item are musical instruments. Right now, I do not have a cost to put in here, but we need to start planning out the musical instrument purchases every year.
And we did have a capital plan for music when I was hired. We kind of slowed that down a little bit over the last couple of years, and so now we need to review it. And just to give some context for folks, we're talking about things like tubas, oboes,
Expensive stuff.
really expensive instruments, right? We're not talking about people's reeds for their saxophones. Kids buy their own instruments for the most part, but most school band programs have things like the big kettle drums or the piano or the bass drum, or just stuff that kids wouldn't naturally play. So my wife was a music teacher for 18 years and I have a degree in music, so I really understand that they teach kids saxophone, trumpet, trombone, drums, right, at 4th and 5th grade and 6th grade. But then as they get older, they want to diversify the orchestra, and those instruments need to be maintained and replaced. And they're very expensive.
Yeah.
But there's some cutoff between self-purchasing and school purchasing, right?
Exactly, yeah, there's kind of like kids purchase the standard issue instruments, but the school almost always has the unique instruments, like a tuba or what's called a baritone. It's just a smaller tuba. Or sometimes they'll have a bass saxophone, right, which is a huge, small, large saxophone that rounds out the saxophone section. The kids might own their own saxophone, but they probably wouldn't. The band director may say, well, could you play bass saxophone for this? And so there's just a balance of like what the kids can purchase and what the district owns.
Okay, the next item is pave the tennis court area. Right now, the tennis court area is a dirt parking lot. And there are no organized parking spaces out there. So because there's no organized parking spaces, it's not organized. All right, moving on to the Bakey
What is it
Elementary.
used for?
What do we use? We use it for overflow parking. And actually, a lot of the kids park there on a daily basis. But if we have an event, it's filled.
What surface is on there now, Matt?
It's a dirt surface.
Hard pack?
Yes,
Not good in spring or winter,
yes, it does become muddy.
very muddy.
Just imagine the kids parking in a muddy parking lot. Okay. The Bakey Elementary School, the electric system assessment. And basically, all I've done is notate a cost here for $15,000 just to do the assessment. This would be hiring the electrical engineer to go in and look at the panels and look at our draws and determine whether we can accept the offer of AC units from parents.
How many AC units are?
Will they also tell us what would need to be done if a reasonable upgrade if it's not sufficient now, if a reasonable upgrade would make it sufficient?
Yeah, they could do that, but we would actually hire them as a second part to that because it would really be a school board vote as to whether they wanted to move forward with that.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna, we don't know how many parents offered AC units. We had a number of parents reach out and we just put the brakes on it because we didn't want to we just told them, we don't even think the power will hold it, but we couldn't say. We felt bad not being able to say definitively, yes, it can handle it or no, it cannot. We feel like it can't, but Jim, yeah, I would want to know like what, if we're gonna have them come in and tell us, assess it. I'd like to know what it would take if it couldn't handle the load. What would it take to upgrade it? That would be Matt, I want you to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
also, are they talking about AC units for every classroom or just a few?
Well, we don't know the level of their commitment yet. We just were asked the question and didn't know the answer.
Okay,
So we did get a lot of, I'm not gonna say, I had like a handful of people say, a bunch of us want to, I didn't ask them to define a bunch. What we want to help out. And I know that Epping has air conditioning units in their classrooms, so people are kind of talking about that. And we didn't want to shut people down without first researching whether or not we could or support it, and then find out that the power board wouldn't hold it. We felt a little off not knowing the answer to the question.
yeah.
okay, the next item is HVAC installation, and this is $1.8 million. We do actually know a good number for this, for Bakey. And right now, the school currently has one unit that supplies fresh air to the cafeteria. However, the rest of the building does not have an air exchange system except for opening windows. Did you want to
So
talk
what is the intent there, Matt?
the
with
intent?
that? Yeah.
The intent would be to, and really this would be, the intent of the project would be decided at the school board at the time the project flies, okay? So it could range from putting in just fresh air exchange all the way up to providing air conditioning to each of the classrooms. Okay,
So little background, and we're working on compiling all of this data. We had to do a survey for the SR2 grant. Remember, did you get that? Did you get that survey? Should have come home in a constant contact.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, the gist of the responses were kind of, they were well-intentioned, but not necessarily congruent with the intent of the survey. The intent of the survey was to ask, how should we spend the ESSER money? Some people put in air exchange, but most of them put in air conditioning abatement, the majority. And so she's trying to weed through it because some stuff was not necessarily, I asked her to do a global summary of it instead of trying to share it out verbatim. You know, how many people said air conditioning out of the respondents? How many people said this out of the respondents, just to get the data? She just got it back a few days ago, but it's pretty overwhelmingly clear that air conditioning at Bakey was on their minds when they took the survey, which really the purpose would be more of an air exchange for health purposes. It makes more sense than air conditioning. I don't know if parents know the difference, right? I don't know if it's interesting. So that's where that, you know, Matt wanted me to share that part.
Yep. Okay, the next item is library rehabilitation at Bakey. What we need to do is we need to pull out the walls and actually seal the concrete. That's because it's below grade. Seal the concrete behind the walls so that it doesn't weep moisture because of the change in the temperature of the concrete and the moisture and the air there. We also need to replace the windows that are in that room because of the condensation that's collecting around the windows.
That was the library.
That's the library.
So that is something that we need to look in sooner than later.
Yes,
So why does a dehumidifier not work?
we do have dehumidifiers. We have 2 of them running in the room right now.
And so why doesn't that work, is the question.
It's drawing out moisture out of the air, but we want a more permanent solution.
So is it not drawing out enough though? Is the I understand like having a finished basement when if you do it before the concrete's fully cured, but that building's really old. So is there a way that moisture is getting in between the walls?
Yes.
Okay, and is the air conditioner able to draw that moisture out, or is it just?
We're able to dry out what's in the air, but it doesn't prevent the moisture from actually collecting behind. See, basically it's a sheetrock wall like this in front of concrete. And we need to pull that off and seal it.
It's that bad, huh?
Yeah.
Is that where the black stuff that was in there a year and a half ago came from, they think?
Yes, maybe.
Do they think that it just wasn't getting enough?
Is that an exterior wall?
No, it's under the ground, it's bizarre.
Well,
Part of it's exterior, but
part of it's exterior, but most of it is below grade. Everything from the window down, from like, I don't know, this height, like from my shoulder down, in this video is below grade.
What about digging down and sealing it from the outside?
digging in?
It's an exterior wall below, part of it's below grade. Would it be possible to dig down a trench along the exterior surface of the wall and seal the wall from the outside? I mean, otherwise you're just sealing moisture into the wall. It's not passing through, but you're still allowing it into the wall.
But I think if you're sealing the exterior, you're trying to prevent intrusion from the exterior.
Right.
What's going on here is the cold nature of the concrete is converting the moisture that's in the air
it's
in the
condensing
room.
on the
and
wall.
So
condensing.
it's condensation that you're talking about.
Yes,
But if it's in the air, then humidifier should take it out of the air, so it's not there to condensate against the wall.
So we might need to just amp up the dehumidifier.
Yeah, that's what's, I would look into that for sure.
I agree.
I actually skipped one. Wastewater pipes need to be replaced. I brought to this committee back in the fall a scoped image of the sewer pipes at Bakey, and the new addition that was put in on the 80s used this really terrible material, and basically it's just a bent metal pipe that was sealed at the joint, and that has rotted all the way through, and sewer gases are leaking up through that crack. And it's not a small leak, it's a fairly large leak. And it's throughout that whole section, every bathroom in that section of the building.
So Matt, what is when you say that, I mean, we've discussed this prior to this meeting, but for the committee's sake, when you say the gas is leaking, is there a safety concern for the students or the staff? Or is it, what level of emergency is this?
I'd like to get it done in the next year or two. But it's a substantial project that needs
Is
to
it
be.
leaking outside the building?
No, it's in the building. So basically, if you know the design of a sewer system, you have to have a vent pipe that goes up to the ceiling.
Right.
So that you have pressure to flush the toilet. That vent pipe has a crack going all the way through it. So if there's any sewer gases in that pipe that gets vented to the exterior, it's getting into the cavity between the drop ceiling and the actual ceiling of the building.
So I'd like you to get a price to replace that.
Yeah. And it's a substantial project too. It's not like a small
Well,
project.
In the meantime, couldn't that pipe be encapsulated with something? So even though it's cracked, nothing leaks out of it? Because it's not under pressure. I mean, the ultimate exhaust is through the top of the pipe. So if there's no way for it to get out, like how they encapsulate asbestos pipes, I would think there'd be something
Yeah.
that could be put around that pipe where that crack is.
The crack is about as big as the width of my glasses arms here.
Right. So you wrap it with something that's made to encapsulate it. It's not under pressure. And it can't get out through the crack.
I get it, but I think it would be best that we hire a structural engineer for this
Sure.
and have them do an assessment and design out the work so that I can bring an actual cost to the school board for approval.
Well, we'll know more. I don't want to belabor the point. Okay, thanks. We'll talk more.
Is the crack accessible, Matt? By removing this drop ceiling?
No, it was identified because not only is the pipe, that crack is expanding, the interior of that pipe has scaled and actually blocked one of the sewer pipes. So one of the bathrooms backed up into the hallways. And we tried to have the pipe roto-rooted and only to have their tool stuck in the pipe. And the only way we could get to it was actually break through a concrete brick wall and get access to the pipe and free their tool. And we were able to replace a section of it that was actually blocking the sewer pipe. So unfortunately, some of the work is behind a concrete brick wall.
And that's the part I'm worried about, right? Is like, how do you if you're gonna get to it and open the wall, does it make more sense to just replace it or wrap it or whatever?
Yeah,
Right, by the time you've ripped out and it has to be an over the summer project.
yeah.
Yeah, if you have to go to all that extent, I was thinking if it was accessible, in the meantime, just wrap it until you figure it out.
Well, if we go to that extent, I think my next logical step is hopefully I'm gonna have an engineering study done for it or electrical engineering study done and have a bigger project that I can bundle the cost together.
Uh-huh.
So anyways, the next item is the PA system upgrade. Currently, there are areas of the building. Right now, every classroom has a speaker in the PA system. However, for safety reasons, we're now closing the doors on the classrooms and you can't hear the PA system out in the hallways or out on the playground. This is a safety issue and we need to make sure that we can hear the announcements that can only be heard by our handheld radios. The next item are walk-in cooler and freezer. At Bakey this past December, we lost our refrigeration unit. We were actually able to have it repaired, but the unit was installed in the 1980s and it is now requiring significant repair. So it's time to replace it. I've actually tried to see if I can retain the walls for it, but for that, they want to replace the whole unit, the walls and the refrigeration unit.
Matt, is that a must do now?
I put it out for a couple of years.
Really?
They just
You can get by that long?
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Be careful, because I don't want to end up where we did with the boiler.
Yeah, right.
Because if that fails, we have to fix it. So I think we might want to bump that one up.
Okay.
But we can talk about that as a team.
The loading dock over at Bakey also needs to be repaired. I tried to get that done this fall. It's probably gonna be a summer project for next summer. That needs to be repaired. It's in really bad shape. Also, there's an emergency exit stairwell that the concrete has deteriorated, and we had an employee slip and fall on that stairwell, and we need to repair that one as well.
So when I was at Bakey the other day, I saw that door has a sign on it, don't use this side, use the other side.
Yes,
Is that doing anything to our fire code? Because I think we need to just get that fixed.
yeah, we're trying to get it fixed, but the problem is we couldn't get it fixed this fall. We couldn't get a contractor to do it.
Okay, so there's no way we could just build a small form over Thanksgiving break and just pour something in there to round it off until.
Actually, what we're hoping to do is put in an aluminum set of stairs that have grates in them so that we don't actually have to shovel it. It's always free of snow.
Okay, but we couldn't get someone to do that.
No, we tried.
Okay, just, I'd like you to check on the fire code piece because
Yeah,
I don't want to have someone show up and say, you can't keep the school open because this door isn't available.
yeah,
Right? I meant to mention that to you sooner. I saw it on my walk through the other day.
okay. LED lights, not all the lights in the building have been changed over to LED. Much of the building uses incandescent and fluorescent lights. We do have an inventory, but I'd like to make sure the inventory is updated and we review everything with Jamie, and then we can move forward and try to replace all of the lights in the building.
Cheapest way is, yeah, is just replace the sticks.
We're looking to you for guidance on that one.
The next one is redesign the front entry. So we've updated the security for the middle school when we did the middle school transition. Last summer, we updated the entrance for Memorial School. Right now, we're looking at updating the entrance for Bakey School. Right now, the entrance is a plexiglass window that protects the employees from people in the hallway. And we anticipate it to be very, very similar to the way Memorial looks. I think it's going to be a simple redesign, but that's architectural services, and we may be able to do it with our current employees. Again, just like the high school, I'd like to crack, fill and seal coat the parking lot every 5 years. It was just done this past summer, and so I'd like to, I'm putting it at the end of the schedule, so it's on the schedule.
Have you walked that parking lot? Jamie, you walked it, the new Bakey parking lot?
Yeah.
It's much better.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to say thank you to Dan for the way that he set up the parking spots. I know it sounds trivial, but as superintendent, just going to visit the school in the morning, I can pull in and park now because there's visitor parking and the flow is way better for the kids in the morning for drop off. I watched drop off today. It was fantastic. I really, the layout of the parking lots made a big difference. It's not just the paving, it's the actual parking spot.
Yes, and he got more parking spaces out of it too.
Mhm.
So it's amazing. So the next one is sprinkler system fire alarm upgrade. So far, the current fire alarm system is aging. However, we're currently able to maintain it. Also, I'd like everyone to know that there's no fire suppression in the building. And now I'm moving on to Memorial Elementary School. The walk-in cooler and freezer is also at end of life, similar to Bakey, and we need to consider replacing that one as well. I didn't put it in the same year as Bakey, however, we probably should do it the year after. The HVAC system upgrade. Basically, the system is at end of life. It is a residential system put in a commercial environment. It's designed to last 20 years. And the system units have begun to fail. We've replaced quite a few of the units already.
So that's the heat pumps that are on the walls in Memorial?
That's right. Those are designed for a house. Also, they barely meet the state's code for airflow.
Yeah, the air exchange.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember reading that report.
Again, crack seal coat, repaint the parking lot. We just did it last summer, so this is out at the end of the schedule. The bus drop off roof and support. So if you drive around the side of the building, you're going to see a roof that sticks out from the building. If you look at the supports that hold that up, they're metal posts. Those supports are rotting out at the bottom. We need to replace all of that. So that's going to be a project that's going to be coming up pretty soon, hopefully next summer. Fire suppression system and fire alarm upgrade. Similar to Bakey, this is an aging system. We're able to maintain the system, and we do not have a fire suppression system inside the building. Just so that you understand that a modern system has a fire panel on the outside of the building, so that the firefighters don't have to go inside the burning building to deal with the fire alarm.
If it's burning, they don't need to turn it off.
Yeah. The next one is replacing the windows at Memorial. They look to me like they are residential grade windows, and we'd like to replace them with commercial quality windows that have a longer lifespan. Again, I think that this would be a great project to tie together with an HVAC system.
So to me, and we'll go through this, but there's an awful lot of things on here that I don't ever remember coming up in previous CIP discussions. So
Absolutely, there are. Dan did an audit this summer.
Yeah.
He sent us a huge list,
So
and that's why we're bringing them to you right now, because we agree. He sent me an email saying, I'm really worried about, and I said to Matt, you put it in the thing and talk to the group. And
I'm really worried about the appetite.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We are too.
So, okay, it's a residential window. Is there a problem with what the window's doing now or not?
Yep,
So
and that's
just it's residential, and I'd rather have commercial. Well, you know, I'd rather drive a Cadillac, but I don't.
right.
Yeah, right. But these are items that I think I need to, like the Bakey boiler, I need to raise with
Yep.
the school board. Okay, so that there are no surprises when something fails. Okay, and
But Jim,
Yes,
it would be good in my mind anyways to schedule a meeting coming up at some point in time to walk around to all of these and look at what it is that we're talking about.
yeah, great idea.
Our understanding for, and you know, maybe we have a special meeting that's a little bit longer so we get to see what all these items are.
Yeah.
My concern is, you know, there's needs and there's wants. And I need to understand the difference between the two.
yeah, you do. And keep in mind on that needs versus wants, we are trying to put our needs on a schedule like in the next year or two. And our wants, we're trying to push them in the out years. When you look at the window replacement, I don't have a known cost and I don't have a time frame to actually get it done. It would just be a great project to do with efficiencies if we do a larger project.
And to be clear, Jamie, I told Matt, put everything on this list. Because I don't want anyone on the board to say, why didn't we know about this?
Yep.
This is just transparency. The timing and what to do and when is up to the board. Does that make sense? So
Yeah, that's what I think you take a look at it now, and then those ones that seem to be of a
Yep.
need basis, then you firm the numbers by going for RFQs on those. I think the number is $2,500, isn't it, Jim? Anything over 2,500 needs to have an RFQ.
Right. You need a bid for it.
I love the idea of scheduling a meeting with walkthroughs.
Yes,
A 3-hour meeting.
Agreed. Okay, I'm gonna move on. The next one here is building expansion. Right now, we have portables connected to the building, and we'd like to convert them to a permanent classroom that is an appropriate music class space.
I want to be clear, it's not a we'd like to, those are way past end of life. And they're holding up, but they're going, that might be, we need someone to look at them and assess them. Because those modulars are supposed to last for a certain period of time. No one dealt with them.
Right.
They're old.
Yeah.
And they're attached to the building.
Yeah.
So that, you know where they are,
Yeah,
right? They just
exactly.
hang right off the end of the building. It's like, if they go, it's gonna put us in a bind like the Bakey boiler, and I don't wanna be in a bind like that again. I don't like that.
Yeah.
There's no excuse for surprises with this stuff. And if we assess, plan, and do it carefully, it'll get handled. But the problem is that a lot of things have been ignored for a long time.
Honestly, with something like this, I'd like to try to get it designed and shovel ready. So when there's flavor in the board to put it on as a warrant article to put before the taxpayers, it's done.
It's ready to go.
So you've got a number of these things listed. I don't want to chew up the end of your time here, but you've got a number of these things listed that require structural assessment. So when you're talking about getting a structural engineer, you're talking about retaining somebody to do whatever is needed.
Yes,
And
exactly.
then
I
covering
think that makes the
different
most sense,
things.
don't you?
Yes,
Because that's glad that I counted that you need structural help.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
thinking we'd get one person to give us some good advice.
right, and I want this committee to choose that person like they chose the architect, because I can tell you, having that done has been way easier
Moves
dealing
things
with
super fast.
when we're trying to do work on any of the buildings that requires plans that goes before the building inspector. It's all designed out, it's all to code, everything is done.
So we have 3 more minutes. We have a public relations meeting in this room.
Okay, so again, there's gonna be, I wanna talk about the old middle school. We gotta do some repairs to it, because I wanna make sure that we're maintaining that building as much as possible. So I have some roof repairs, door repairs, and also crack sealing of the parking lot. And then also, I'm gonna skip the rest, okay? But basically, these are all pieces of equipment. I've listed out all the trucks, some snow removal equipment, some chase field fencing, chase field rehabilitation, facilities and grounds building where we can store some of our equipment, do some radio upgrades. We need to try to get that into an ongoing schedule to replace the handheld radios. And then also I have all the information technology, servers, laptops, Chromebooks, iPads, switches, firewalls, wireless phone systems, camera systems, projectors, classroom microphones. Oh, then I have administrative stuff where we're doing energy study, furniture. We need to get furniture put into the our operating budget. And then also
Replacement furniture for classrooms is what he's saying.
Yep.
Right, so you do a certain number of rooms a year so that you never get way behind. And
Right.
We're not doing that right now, which is really not.
And we need to be able to, we need to trade in our furniture too, so we're not storing all this
Yeah.
old furniture.
Well, that's my concern with furniture is that the district hasn't shown a good stewardship on furniture, given the mountains of furniture
Yeah.
that were all stacked up.
Oh my God, we
in the other
couldn't believe
building.
it, Jamie.
Well, we just kept on buying new furniture and new furniture.
Yeah, they didn't do it, the seminary, anyway, we'll talk later. We need another meeting. We wanted to give this to you today.
Gives
Get
us
it
something to
out.
work
Can we
on.
meet next Wednesday? Jim, when are you back?
I'll be back Saturday.
Honestly, this is good enough, I think, because
I was
basically
gonna
this
say,
is gonna be the plan that's gonna go before the,
Well, yeah, but they want to go on a tour of these things.
oh, absolutely.
And I'm
Well, I think
thinking
we
next
do-
Wednesday.
Well, I would suggest one building.
You wanna go to a meeting, one meeting?
I was thinking just
Yeah.
a 3-hour meeting and just go to each building and get it done. You just walk around. I mean, I go to schools all day. I mean, you could,
Whatever, I'm just saying that's a lot.
or even 2
time.
hours, yeah.
Okay,
You
Okay.
know, I mean, because you've got to go to Newton, you gotta come in.
Yeah.
I'm just
yeah,
saying, you
yeah.
know,
All right, we'll be, I want to get, they need to meet. They have something they want to discuss.
I think we look at our agenda
Yeah,
and then decide whether or not this agenda can be done in 10 minutes, and then we'll spend the next 50 minutes at the bakey, you know? I
Yeah.
mean, I don't,
well, we gotta move a little bit faster because this is going in the strategic plan and I'm making a lot of.
yeah, no,
on the
that's
strategic
okay,
plan.
whatever, yeah.
So why don't we, I'll talk with Jim and when Jim gets back, we'll schedule a time, we'll make a plan. Yeah, I need, this document will be a part of what we propose for the strategic plan.
Yep.
And I'm cooking, so I just want to keep moving. You know,
My time has been really compressed over the last,
yeah, we've been going to Wells, right?
I don't know.
Yes, okay, all right, thanks.
Okay, meeting adjourned.